Stories that time forgot.
Nobody in Detroit noticed that the electric motor patented in 1920 outperformed the internal combustion engine in efficiency, until Standard Oil bought the rights and filed them away in a windowless vault for 87 years. The buried patent of the 1920 electric motor. Imagine for a moment walking the streets of Cleveland in the spring of 1920. The air smells of burning coal and the grease of horses that still share the road with the first gasoline automobiles. You stop in front of a modest workshop where a Ukrainian engineer, Mikhail Dolivo-Dobrovolsky, has just brought to life a device that seems pulled from a science fiction novel. It isn't a simple mechanical upgrade. It is the heart of a future that has been snatched away from you. You are standing before the high-performance polyphase induction motor with brushless electronic switching. Don't let the technical name overwhelm you. What you see before your eyes is, essentially, the motor of a 21st century luxury electric vehicle, but built with the steel and ingenuity of 100 years ago. This motor wasn't just silent. It was nearly perfect, reaching an efficiency of 94%. As you watch the prototype, you must understand the magnitude of the deception you are about to witness. At that time, you and your neighbors had a real choice. Electric cars weren't a curiosity. They were the kings of the city. They didn't need that dangerous hand crank that often broke the wrists of gasoline drivers. And they didn't emit clouds of black smoke that stained silk dresses. Dolivo-Dobrovolsky's invention eliminated the biggest problem of these vehicles: part wear and tear. Having no brushes meant no unnecessary friction or sparks. It was an eternal piece of engineering. But while you dream of clean cities and silent journeys, in the skyscrapers of New York, the men who control the flow of oil are plotting a plan, so that this motor never reaches your hands. Feel the coldness of that betrayal. As the engineer registers his patent number 1,334,632 on March 17, 1920. By the end of that year, the prototypes were already rolling. Imagine yourself riding in one of those modified Baker electric vehicles. You feel the smooth acceleration, a constant surge that takes you from 0 to 50 miles per hour in just 9 seconds. It's a sensation of power that no Ford Model T could ever give you. The range reaches 100 miles per charge, enough to cross entire counties without stopping. The newspapers call it the future, but you and I know that future was executed in a dark office. In January 1921, a delegation from Standard Oil, led by John D. Archbold, arrives at the Akron factory. They don't bring congratulations. They bring a briefcase with $250,000 and a contract that is a technological death sentence. They force Dolivo-Dobrovolsky to sign a perpetual non-disclosure agreement. The engineer, desperate for funds, yields to the giant's pressure. At that precise moment, the motor that could have changed the planet's climate is buried alive. Put yourself in Mikhail's shoes. You've been promised a fortune, but in exchange, you must hand over every blueprint, every sketch. Standard Oil, through the Securities and Exchange Commission of the era and legal trickery, withholds most of the payment. The Ukrainian engineer ends up broke, watching his company go bankrupt while his invention is moved to an underground vault. It wasn't a business transaction. It was a kidnapping. For decades, while you and your parents paid more and more for gasoline and watched the city air become unbreathable, Standard Oil religiously kept paying the patent maintenance fees. They didn't want to develop it. They just wanted to make sure no one else could. It was a pure defensive acquisition, buying innovation to destroy it and protect their liquid fuel monopoly. Have you ever wondered why electric cars vanished so suddenly in the 30s? It wasn't for lack of technology. It was because of a coordinated campaign where fake studies on battery dangers were funded. Standard Oil invested millions in filling rural areas with gas stations, leaving electrics isolated in the cities. By 1950, the collective memory of Dolivo-Dobrovolsky's motor had faded. The world became addicted to oil because a few men decided their profitability was more important than human progress. Mikhail died in 1936 in Berlin, working as a simple technician, with the bitterness of knowing he had sold the destiny of the 20th century. In his personal diaries, he wrote that technological progress does not always triumph over commercial interests. Sometimes it is simply bought and silenced. The truth remained hidden until 2007, when the archives of today's ExxonMobil were digitized. There, among thousands of documents, the Project Silence file appeared. Internal memos from 1921 confirmed the conspiracy. They labeled the motor a systemic threat that could cause massive losses. They decided it was cheaper to spend $250,000 silencing one man than to lose an empire. When engineers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology reconstructed the original design in 2018, they were stunned. The 1920 motor was superior in efficiency to many of those we use today. If its commercialization had been allowed, the planet would have been spared the emission of trillions of tons of carbon dioxide. The 80-year delay in electric mobility was not a technical error. It was a deliberate and selfish financial decision. Today, when you see news about the climate crisis and the desperate efforts to electrify transport, think of that dark vault in New York. Think of how many other disruptive inventions are sleeping that same eternal sleep today because they threaten the profits of a major corporation. How many patents for free energy or cures for diseases are under lock and key at this very moment? The story of the Dolivo-Dobrovolsky motor teaches us that the market doesn't always choose what's best, but what benefits those in power. ExxonMobil has never apologized. They merely state it was a legitimate business practice. But you know better. You know you were robbed of a century of clean air and silent technology. It is unsettling to think that the solution to many of our current problems was already invented over 100 years ago. Do you believe that similar technologies are being hidden today to protect the current economic system? We are very interested in hearing your take on this case of historical sabotage and if you suspect any other invention. Your participation is vital so these stories aren't lost to oblivion, so please, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Like and subscribe to discover more stories time forgot.